of being fair to everyone. But when the rule comes down to MUMIA, that's when he loses it. And then he come up with this other mess, you know. So some lawyers, there was a rebellious lawyers conference that was being held in Yale. They invited Krasner to be the keynote speaker at the rebellious law conference. Now, this conference brings lawyers and, you know, students from throughout the United States. Myself, Raza Khan, Brother Basim, and another sister named Linda. Basim comes to the meetings, and we went up there, and, you know, it was unbelievable what you saw. And we heard that the lawyers came from all across the United States, but this was massive. Lawyers that is known as rebellious lawyers, when they found out that Krasner was the keynote speaker, they immediately, some of the lawyers stepped to the board and they explained to him why he should not. And the number one reason was MUMIA and what he done to, you know, by making that appeal. All these lawyers see that what he did was wrong. And Michael Court, attorney Michael Court, seen that what he did was wrong. The NAACP, Rodney Muhammad, he saw that it was wrong. And the thing is, it is wrong, and we are being asked to sit back and watch them torture MUMIA to death when we have absolute evidence of innocence. See, before, a lot of these things were done behind the scenes, and we would bring it to people and tell them what's going on, and, you know, they really didn't understand it, couldn't, you know, get with it, and, you know, but when you had this black judge, Tucker, and who took it upon himself to not do us any favors, because we're not asking for favors. All we're asking these people to do is adhere to the law as they have it written. Like in the case called Dawson, and which would have gave MUMIA relief a few years ago. And what they did, when MUMIA applied for the Dawson ruling, they removed the Dawson ruling, and when MUMIA applied for it, they said, well, it doesn't apply because it's no longer here. After, you know, it was turned down on MUMIA, a year later, they re-put the Dawson decision in. And evidence of, you know, the fact that they want to kill MUMIA keep hitting us in the face. Now, this Black History Month, we made a whole lot of black history. And a black judge stood up and did the right thing. And black lawyers and from Yale, Princeton, Harvard, Stanton, I can't think of all these other colleges of law who looked at this and said that this man was wrong. They didn't come to us and ask us anything. We had a meeting with them last week. They said, this one sister said she saw it in an invitation to come there, and she said, Krasner? That's the guy who turned the appeal down on MUMIA. So she called some lawyers from Yale. They called some lawyers from Harvard. They called some lawyers from Princeton and Stanton. And they got together and they got some students and they called Johanna Fernandez. And they wrote up a letter to the board of the Rebellious Lawyers Conference. And they seen to it that they rescinded that order for him to do the right, you know, for him to speak. He could not speak there behind the stance that he did with MUMIA. They saw it as unlawful, and so they took that stand. Now, we here, it's a lot of us, we've been trying to get ministers to stand up for MUMIA. Years ago, there was a whole group of ministers till faith-based money came in, and now you can't get them. You know, when they see me, they be like, oh, how you doing, Sister Pam? Keep up the good work and keep stepping. But at this particular point, and where we have all this evidence and this up front, things can't be done the same way that they were done before. And you know, we're coming knocking, banging, kicking down doors and using whatever language that there is necessary, and to make people understand that this government is in the process of committing cold-blooded murder. They are torturing MUMIA to death. Why? Because he's a freedom fighter. Why? Because he stands up for black people. Why? Because he don't bend down, suck up to anybody. They offered him ways of getting out. They said, well, you know, in fact, it was Casey who said, well, all you have to ask for is a governmental, you know, and he said that right on, I think, WHAT, a governmental pardon. And, you know, he said if you file for that, or if you file for, what's that other one, a change of
venue?
Not been computation.
Okay.
You know, they are, but in order to get that, you got to admit guilt. He's not guilty, and he wouldn't do that. The evidence is there. It's plain. MUMIA's life is not in the hands of Krasner or anybody else that's crooked. MUMIA's life is in our hands, and the facts show that what it is that we're doing is working by keep applying that pressure. Is that MUMIA is alive. They said that they was going to kill him on death row. They had presidents come out. They had governors jump out. They had, you know, all the right-wing, you know, maniacs called stars, you know, jump out and call for MUMIA's death. But the power of the people, the power of righteousness is what got MUMIA alive today. And that battle, they are so messed up that we won that battle for his life. They're determined they're going to kill him in jail. And we determined to say, hell no, it will not go that way. So what we're asking